Welcome to Fabulavox, the voice of untold emotions and unforgettable tales. Let the story begin.
As we saw in the previous chapter, Qiao Lan suddenly found herself transmigrated into a novel, a world where her character was seen as a villain, confused, uncertain, and struggling to make sense of her new life. She began to walk the same path written for her, yet this time with her own choices. Now, let's begin Chapter 3, Qiao Lan's first meeting with the family of the books Qiao Lan. Standing at the school gate, Qiao Lan stood there dumbfounded for a while. The afternoon breeze carried faint chatter from students, passing by a reminder that her day was far from over. School was over, time to go home, but she didn't know where Qiao Lan's home was in the book. A strange thought for someone supposedly living her own life yet. This wasn't hers to begin with. After thinking for a long time, she finally remembered that Qiao Lan's parents ran a small restaurant near the school. Qiao Lan's family wasn't well off, so the restaurant probably wasn't very big either, and the customer traffic was likely average. It wasn't luxury she was walking toward, but something that smelled faintly of oil and forgotten dreams. Qiao Lan walked across from the school, bypassing several large, bustling restaurants, and after searching only two, she found her parents' small restaurant. The signboard looked tired, the paint peeling, as if it too had seen too many long days. It truly was a small restaurant. The 4 tables were crammed together, making it feel suffocating. The restaurant was dimly lit, filled with a strong smell of excessive MSG in the food. Just as Qiao Lan stood at the door, a chubby little boy came in from behind, shoving her aside without flinching. "What are you doing standing at the door? An exhibition?" he said, then sauntered inside. Even the door seemed to creak with irritation, matching her mood perfectly. Qiao Lan frowned, staring at the back of the chubby boy's head for a long time before following him inside, one step after another, into a life that wasn't quite hers. The restaurant served home-style dishes. Students ordered rice and 2 dishes, just like in a cafeteria. It was after school, and the small shop was quite full of students. Mr. Qiao was in charge of cooking, while Mrs. Qiao was serving the students. Qiao Lan followed Qiao Yuan into the kitchen. Mr. Qiao, who was cooking, immediately saw his beloved son, and his chubby face beamed with joy. "Yuener, school's out." The warmth in his tone vanished the moment his gaze shifted. After asking his son a bunch of questions, he seemed to only then notice Qiao Lan. Seeing that Qiao Lan had no tact and wouldn't even help, and noticing her pale face, from something she'd applied, he was instantly furious, his doting fatherly smile vanishing. So much for family affection, it seemed to come with conditions. "What are you standing there for? There are so many people in the shop. Why aren't you helping? Are your eyes just for venting your anger?" The words struck sharper than any slap could. Qiao Lan glanced back. There were quite a few students, so helping out was the right thing to do. After a few seconds of silence, she put down her school bag and went to help Mrs. Qiao carry the plates. Her hands moved on instinct, but her heart stayed still. Qiao Lan didn't see anything wrong with this kind of work. In her previous life, she had done similar jobs to earn money for her school fees. Work was familiar disappointment, even more so. After taking the cooked dishes out and collecting the empty plates, Qiao Lan went back inside to find her father had quickly prepared 3 dishes and placed them in front of his chubby son, Qiao Yuan. Favoritism had a scent, warm food and cold silence. 2 meat dishes and 1 vegetable dish, all clean and of a different quality from the greasy food sold to students. A quiet hunger gnawed at her chest. Stronger than pride, Qiao Lan, who saved money every day to buy lollipops for her classmates and was practically skin and bones from not eating, only realized she was hungry when she saw the food. Just as she was about to put down her plate to wash her hands and eat, her father gave her a look that said, "What are you doing? Wash your hands later. Go help your mother collect the bill." Then, turning back with a loving expression, he said, "Son, you eat first. If you're still hungry, Dad will make more." Love, it seemed, was served selectively, and she wasn't on the menu. Qiao Lan gave her father a deep look, then glanced at Qiao Yuan, who was happily eating. She threw the plate in the sink, washed her hands, picked up her school bag, and left without looking back. Sometimes silence spoke louder than arguments ever could. Leaving Mr. Qiao and Qiao Yuan completely bewildered, it took a while for Mr. Qiao to finally erupt in anger. "Get back here! Who are you giving attitude to? You can't even handle a simple task? You're unwilling to work, and you're useless when it comes to studying. What good are you anyway?" His words chased her down the street, but she didn't turn around. Qiao Lan grabbed her school bag and left, shutting out her father's tirade. She checked her pockets and found 5 yuan. She bought the cheapest, most filling bread from a nearby shop, sat on a small stone bench not far from the restaurant, took out her book and began reading while munching on her bread. Bread and silence her new dinner companions. She was reading chemistry. Perhaps science made more sense than family ever could. Qiao Lan was quite relieved that it had only been a little over a month since the start of her first year of high school, and the curriculum wasn't too demanding. Even if she fell behind, she could catch up quickly. Qiao Lan used to be a humanities student, and although history and geography were things from a long time ago, she still remembered them. Before transmigrating into the book, Qiao Lan was a sophomore in college, majoring in finance. Her math was quite good, and she had just finished taking the CET 6, College English Test Band 6. Old memories collided with this strange new life, 2 worlds stitched together by survival. So, she mainly needed to catch up on physics and chemistry. Knowledge, at least, was something she could still control. After finishing a chapter of chemistry while munching on a slice of bread, it gradually got dark outside. Finally, she saw the chubby boy emerge from the small restaurant. Mr. and Mrs. Qiao stood at the door, repeatedly reminding their son to be careful before returning to the shop. Qiao Lan put away her textbook and followed the chubby boy back to the Qiao family home. The night deepened, and with it, her quiet resolve. The Qiao family's house was an old 6-story building, bought a long time ago. Qiao Yuan hummed "Above the Moon" as he walked into the stairwell, turned around and saw a dark figure which startled him. When he saw it was Qiao Lan, his eyes widened and he kicked Qiao Lan's leg. "What are you doing sneaking around like that? Are you trying to scare me to death?" His voice echoed in the stairwell, sharp, childish, entitled. Qiao Lan deftly stepped over Qiao Yuan without looking to either side, and Qiao Yuan howled, "Are you blind?" Grandma Qiao, who was watching TV at home, heard her grandson's pig-like screams and hurriedly opened the door. What's wrong? Where's your brother? Behind, Qiao Lan said, slipping into the room, putting down her school bag and going into the bathroom before closing the door. The bathroom door shut like a barrier between two worlds, one of noise and one of quiet defiance. Qiao Yuan then came in, clutching his foot and sobbing. Actually, the pain had subsided, but when he looked down and saw the dark footprint on his white sneakers, he was instantly furious. These were the brand-name shoes his father had bought him 2 days ago, and now they were completely dirty. Qiao Yuan rushed into Qiao Lan's room but couldn't find her. He then noticed the bathroom light was on and started yelling at the door. Every complaint in this house seemed to echo louder than reason. When Grandma Qiao heard that Qiao Lan had stepped on her grandson, she immediately joined in banging on the door. "You're such a grown girl, can't you watch where you're going?" Qiao Yuan's focus wasn't on the foot pain, but on the shoes. His face contorted in a grimace. "My new shoes. I'll have your sister wash them for you later. They won't be new anymore if you wash them." The grandmother and grandson, one yelling and the other coaxing, quickly assigned Qiao Lan a whole bunch of chores. Qiao Lan had no parents, and thanks to the help of some kind people, she was able to attend university. Back then, she always dreamed of having parents and a home someday. Now, with parents and an elderly person, Qiao Lan felt deep down that it was better not to. With such relatives, she would rather be an orphan. She needed to find a way to move out and eventually break away from the Qiao family. However, she was still a high school student and she had to figure out where to live and how to cover her living expenses. Lost in thought, she ignored the noise outside and focused her gaze on her reflection in the mirror. Her brows furrowed immediately. According to the book, Qiao Lan had actually turned her life around because of her looks. The novel described her as unattractive before high school, thin and pale, far from beautiful. Later, she fell in love with Chen Yaoyang, but he disliked her. She also hurt Song Yao out of jealousy, leading to her expulsion from school. After that, there was no further news until several years later, when she made a stunning comeback, using her looks to seduce several rich and foolish playboys, causing Song Yao no shortage of trouble. Unfortunately now, Qiao Lan was still that sallow-faced, emaciated clown. Not only that, Qiao Lan's face was clearly covered with a layer of cheap cosmetics, perhaps BB cream or foundation, making her face appear bluish-purple. That would have been bad enough, but she didn't apply any to her neck, leaving her ears and neck several shades darker than her face. In addition, she had poorly applied eyeliner, turning her double eyelids into single eyelids. Qiao Lan squeezed out some face wash with a slight twitch at the corner of her mouth, washing her face twice, finally revealing her features. Her face was small, an oval shape, but because she was too thin, it lacked any beauty. Her nose bridge was high, and her lips were not full like a girl's, but slightly thin. Her phoenix eyes were long and slender, becoming the finishing touch to her entire face. Song Yao had almond-shaped eyes and cherry lips, giving her a sweet and innocent appearance. Qiao Lan's face was the complete opposite. Compared to Song Yao, Qiao Lan's features were more striking. No wonder people said Qiao Lan would make a stunning comeback. With such features, she definitely had the potential to be breathtaking. However, as the saying goes, fair skin covers 100 flaws, but dark skin ruins everything. While Qiao Lan wasn't dark-skinned, her skin was dull and sallow, lacking vitality, making her look lifeless. Her long, straw-like hair, chapped lips and extremely thin frame made her look almost unrecognizable. She'd even painted her most attractive feature, her eyes, into double eyelids. No matter how much BB cream she applied, without collagen and a healthy complexion, how could she look good? Qiao Lan started to wonder about the thought process of the character Qiao Lan in the book. If she had saved her money to drink more milk and eat more eggs, she definitely wouldn't look like this. A beautiful face, ruined beyond recognition. After washing her face and leaving the bathroom, Qiao Lan entered the smallest room on the south side of the house. The Qiao family house was old but quite large, as it had previously housed 2 older sisters. She looked around. Not long after sitting down, Qiao Yuan, heavily pampered, kicked open the door and entered, pointing arrogantly at the shoes by the door. "Wash them clean. They have to look brand new," he said, seeing Qiao Lan not moving. He urged, "Hurry up! The sooner they're washed and dried, the sooner I need to wear them in a couple of days." And just like that, her quiet night ended not with peace, but with another command.